If you've ever seen one of those unbelievable deals online and you get that little flicker of doubt, we know exactly what we're getting into today. This deep dive, it's really our mission to help inoculate you against online shopping fraud. We've looked at the sources about a website called Marciatrol.com, and we're pulling out the absolute key warning signs. Think of it as building your mental checklist for spotting a high-risk seller.
Yeah, it's really crucial stuff, especially because these scams, they're getting more sophisticated. It's rarely one big obvious mistake anymore. What's fascinating here, I think, is how multiple weak signals, a few odd choices in registration, maybe a lack of transparency they weave together, they create this clear pattern of deception. So we're learning to read the whole picture, right? Even when one piece, like basic security, looks okay on the surface.
Okay, let's unpack this. Let's start with the technical side of this site, because the red flags popped up almost instantly. What really stood out was how new this domain is. The sources confirm it was registered like extremely recently. To me, that just screams, temporary setup. Like a burner phone, but for an e-commerce site, designed to run a quick operation and then just vanish.
That's a great analogy. Spot on, really.
Yeah.
A site that pops up suddenly like that, often disposable. Think about it. An established retailer, if they have a problem, they've got years of history, reputation on the line. But if a site is only, say, 3 months old, they lose practically nothing by just shutting down and starting over under a new name. And that links right into the second technical red flag: hidden ownership.
Right. Tell us more about that. For someone listening who maybe doesn't know much about domains, what does domain privacy services actually mean? And why is that such a big deal for accountability?
Okay, so it's basically an intentional layer of, evasion. Domain privacy lets the real owner use a proxy service, a kind of middleman, to register the site. So if you try to track them down, maybe law enforcement, or if you needed to sue them, they're shielded. It makes it incredibly difficult, almost impossible sometimes, to serve legal papers or hold anyone specific financially responsible. It's pretty much the definition of avoiding accountability.
So they're deliberately hiding. Which, okay, raises a big question. If they're hiding, why bother with security at all? The sources say Marciatrol.com does have a valid SSL certificate. Why would a scammer encrypt user data?
That's the security paradox we see a lot now. Today, getting an SSL certificate, the little padlock icon that encrypts traffic, it's really a low bar. Thanks to services like Let's Encrypt, they're often free, super easy to get. It costs the scammers basically nothing. But it gives this psychological boost to the user. It makes the site feel legit. But, and this is critical, SSL only means your data is encrypted in transit. It says absolutely nothing about whether the people receiving your data are trustworthy or if they're actually going to, send you what you ordered.
That's a really crucial distinction. Okay, so we've got the technical evasion. Let's talk organizational evasion. If they're hiding technically, it kind of makes sense they'd hide organizationally too, right? What do the sources show about their transparency, or lack thereof?
Yeah, a complete lack of it, basically. We're talking about an e-commerce site with little to no solid info about a physical location, a proper legal business name, or even decent customer support beyond just a generic contact form. Real businesses, they have legal and practical reasons to provide this stuff. When it's missing, it signals either the site is brand new and maybe sloppy, or more likely, they're deliberately avoiding creating a legal footprint.
And that digital silence is just, it's deafening, isn't it? The lack of social proof. It's like walking into a shop with no sign, no name, and absolute zero other customers inside. We look for customer reviews, testimonials on trustworthy third-party sites, and found
Nothing. Exactly. Just crickets. And that absence of any real buyer activity, that's one of the most reliable flags out there. We always tell people, check Trustpilot, check the Better Business Bureau, even look for detailed discussions on places like Reddit. When a site supposedly selling popular items has no traceable footprint, no complaints about not getting orders, no verified purchase reviews, it strongly suggests they either don't ship anything, or what they do ship is counterfeit or just plain junk.
And what's really telling here is the third-party consensus, right? Even independent review sites are sounding the alarm.
They are. Places like Scam Advisor have flagged Marciatrol.com. They specifically mention its links to other shaky e-commerce platforms and its association with common scams, phishing, gift card fraud, fake product schemes. When independent watchdogs start putting out warnings like that, your mental checklist should probably shift from high risk to just avoid. Full stop.
So what does this all mean? Let's try and crystallize that checklist for everyone listening. We see this consistent pattern. A brand new domain, hidden ownership details, using cheap encryption, almost like a disguise. Then A total lack of transparent company info. Add to that zero verified proof of actual buyers, plus these external warnings. That's not just one red flag, well, it's a whole bonfire, really.
Absolutely. If we step back and look at the big picture, that combination points very strongly towards deceptive intent. It's hard to argue otherwise. So, the safest assumption when you encounter this kind of pattern, just avoid it. Until you see consistent, verified customer reviews and clear, transparent business practices emerge, you have to treat any site showing these signs as extremely high risk.
Right. And maybe the key takeaway here for you listening isn't just about ticking boxes on a red flag list. It's also recognizing that common security features, like that basic, often free SSL certificate, can actually be used by dodgy sites. They use it deliberately to create a false sense of security in people who aren't looking closely enough. Your skepticism, that's probably your best online security tool.